Welcome back to Secrets Behind the Stars, the space where we slip past velvet ropes and step straight into the buzzing backstage of Turkish entertainment. Before we dive into tonight's breathtaking episode, make sure you subscribe, tap like, and, if you want to support our growing community, hit the join button to unlock exclusive extras reserved only for our most devoted viewers. In the last few days, one name has been lighting up every headline and group chat: Yağmur Yüksel. Not only because of a few heartfelt confessions she recently allowed herself in a candid interview, but because of a moment that unfolded on the set of a brand new romantic series currently filming in Istanbul, one of those moments that pulls fiction and reality into the same magnetic orbit. The spark that ignited the online conversation was a kiss scene with her co-star, Barış. On paper it was simple, a scripted beat like any other. On camera, it looked like something different, surprisingly intimate, startlingly lived in, an exchange so convincing it left even the crew a little unsteady on their feet. The sequence took place in a cafe painstakingly reconstructed in the storied Galata neighborhood, all warm wood and old-world charm. The setup was classic, a lingering look, a quiet approach, and then a kiss charged with emotion, the kind that lands like a hush. When the director finally called cut, a stillness swept over the set. For several seconds, no one moved, as if the air itself were listening. It was in the script, no doubt, a lighting technician confessed in a low voice once the set reset for sound. But what we saw felt so raw, so unguarded, we found ourselves watching like there were no cameras at all. What makes this moment even more noteworthy is the work that led up to it. For months, Yağmur has been collaborating with an internationally respected creative coach who is on set for every take. This mentor guides her through breathwork, emotional improvisation, and a practice the team calls character diaries, a daily writing ritual that folds a performer's private memories into a role with care and control. Those notebooks, we're told, are full of tactile details, scents that trigger memory, colors that map moods, songs that unlock feelings in seconds. Whether coincidence or design, the character she plays echoes certain contours of her own past, and that resonance appears to have deepened the power of each scene. On the day of the kiss, professionalism was the rule. Despite the heat of the moment and the waves of whispered speculation already rising online, the environment stayed measured and focused. When the embrace ended and the director gave the signal, the coach didn't rush in or fuss. Instead, with a small nod and a quiet clap, they celebrated the craft, then leaned in to murmur to Yağmur, "Breathe, anchor, let the emotion pass through and not stick." It was a gesture that spoke volumes, support without intrusion, guidance without blurring the line between artistry and life. By the time dusk fell over Istanbul, a short clip had slipped from the safety of the set into the wilds of the internet. Sources say it came from a control room monitor, captured at an angle that made the scene feel even more clandestine, like an accidental window into something private. Within hours it was everywhere. Fans rallied under the same combinations of names and phrases, pushing terms like Yağmur Barış and kiss on set to the top of the trends without a single official promotion. Timelines split into two camps. One group insisted that what we witnessed couldn't be faked, that the current between them was too real to be only performance. The other camp praised the pair for doing exactly what great actors do, turning a written direction into a moment that feels lived, then letting it go when the camera stops rolling. It came across as spontaneous, one commenter wrote on a forum that became a clearinghouse for rapid-fire reactions. But to me it was a crafted feeling, beautifully constructed. That's what acting looks like when it's done with precision. As the debate swelled, both leads stayed outwardly calm. People close to Yağmur repeat the same line: she is pouring herself into the work and prefers to let the series speak rather than her private life. Meanwhile, Barış didn't add fuel to the conversation. He posted a simple photo from the set, a blurred cafe chair in the foreground, clapperboard at the edge of the frame, with a caption that read, "When fiction breathes." No names, no winks, nothing more. Critics and television journalists weighed in as well, cutting through the noise with a perspective that, frankly, is hard to argue with. The consensus is that what we saw was an illustration of true craft, two performers so locked into the emotional architecture of a scene that reality felt close enough to touch. It's the zone where technique meets truth, where the audience forgets the scaffolding and just experiences. More than one seasoned reviewer called it one of the year's defining moments, a few seconds of story that feels like it already belongs to the collective memory of this TV season. Behind the camera, people remember the small details. The director counted beats on their fingers, letting the silence stretch a hair longer than usual before the kiss began. A set dresser adjusted an empty teacup until its handle faced exactly 3 o'clock, then stepped away and held their breath. The sound recordist muttered a quick prayer to the gods of stillness. And in the pocket of that carefully staged world, Barış and Yağmur found a rhythm that looked effortless, as if the scene had been waiting for them. It is worth noting how carefully the production has balanced intensity with care. The creative coach has introduced warm-up rituals designed to keep the heart open and the boundaries clear, deep inhalations timed to the count of 4, exhalations twice as long, short improvisational exchanges that let the actors test the temperature of the moment before the slate claps, a few lines of private text each writes by hand before stepping under the lights. These are small guardrails that make big emotions safe to touch and then set down. And according to insiders, that is exactly what happened. The scene was prepared, the scene was lived, the scene was released. None of this has stopped the rumor mill from spinning. Some fans point to the recent interview where Yağmur allowed a glimpse of past heartbreak and ask if that memory fueled what we saw. Others recall Barış's reputation for intensity, how he stares at a line until it reveals its secret, and wonder if that focus lit the spark. Yet, when you step back, the picture is not so mysterious. They are skilled, they are disciplined, and when you pair talent with a set charged with romance, electricity is not just likely, it's expected. Even so, the leak itself added fuel. The control room angle gave the scene an illicit sheen, the way a reflection in a window can make a familiar room look like a dream. That framing made viewers feel like witnesses rather than audience, a subtle shift that makes all the difference. And in the chaotic world of social media, that feeling is the currency that travels fastest. Through it all, there's a word everyone on set keeps repeating: respect. Respect for craft, respect for boundaries, respect for the story they are building together. Multiple crew members praised the way both leads reset after the scene: no grandstanding, no lingering dramatics, just quiet preparation for the next shot. One assistant director even joked that the loudest noise after cut was the hiss of the espresso machine as the art department refilled steaming cups to keep the continuity perfect. As the clip traveled, think pieces mushroomed. Some writers explored why audiences love to imagine a romance blooming off camera when chemistry pops on camera. Others highlighted the peculiar tension of celebrity in the digital era, the expectation that feelings must be shared, decoded, and owned by the public. But a few voices reminded everyone of a basic truth: the best scenes are doorways, not diaries. They invite us in, but they do not belong to us. Where do Yağmur and Barış stand in the middle of all this? If the whispers are accurate, they stand exactly where professionals stand, shoulder to shoulder with their crew, eyes on the next take, bodies tuned to the tempo of the story. Friends say Yağmur has been doubling down on rehearsal, refining small gestures, how a fingertip touches a saucer, how a breath starts in the belly. Colleagues describe Barış turning down a few public appearances to keep his attention uncluttered. It is the kind of quiet that speaks loudly. Of course, not everyone is convinced. A portion of the fandom insists the tide between them is larger than the stage could hold. There's a certain romance in that belief, the idea that a scripted kiss might knock loose a real confession. And who can blame people for hoping? The heart loves a fairy tale, especially one set against city lights in a cafe that looks like it remembers every love story ever told. Then again, the most compelling fairy tales are crafted with intention. Ask anyone who has spent time under lights: the camera loves precision. What looks spontaneous is often the result of countless choices, each one made with care. It's choreography without the visible steps, emotion arranged so subtly that it appears to arise on its own. That is the art, and it is worth celebrating on its own terms. So here we are, caught between hope and admiration, romance and rigor. Was that kiss between Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktas purely a performance, shaped by breath counts and diary pages? Or did you feel a current run through the room, something that reached past rehearsal into the tender space where life and make-believe blur? Tell us where you stand. Share your thoughts below, and let us know which other stars you'd like to see on our next deep dive. From all of us at Secrets Behind the Stars, thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like if you enjoyed tonight's reveal, and, if you want to support us even more, click the join button to access behind-the-scenes exclusives we reserve for our inner circle. We'll be back soon with more whispers, more wonders, and more moments that prove Turkish entertainment still knows exactly how to take our breath away. And until then, remember, the most unforgettable scenes aren't just watched, they're felt. When eyes meet, when a room goes quiet, when a kiss lands and the world forgets to exhale, that's where stories come alive. Tonight, they came alive in Galata, under soft lights and careful hands, with two actors who understand how to hold a moment and then let it go. That's the secret behind the spark, and that is why we'll be talking about this scene for a long time to come.